Most likely, you do not know what ArangoDB is, therefore I have made this video. So to get started, I will walk you through the whole thing so you know how to create a RESTful API with PHP and Arango. Let's go to arangodb.com. A quick intro to the database. It is a graph database. It could be used as a replacement for Neo4j. It's a document database. Could be used as a replacement for MongoDB, and also a key value pair database, which could be a replacement for Memcached or Redis. All of these with one query language, with one system, which is the Arango query language. So that's the advantage of it. I have tested the database. It's very promising, it's very good, it's very mature, it's ACID compliant, it has views, indexing, and all that. Everything that a mature professional database should have. So the first thing we need to do is, it doesn't matter how you start this, we could start just making sure that your Apache server is running. So I have it running already now. We are also going to download Docker because we will need Docker. Go ahead and install Docker on your computer, and let's create an image for the database in Docker. Let's start there. So the first thing we're going to do is docker hub ArangoDB. Let's get the image. We are going to download it via the command line interface, and there are many different ways you can do this. I like to do it in one way. Let me see if I find the link. This here will do. Exposing the port. We need the port so we can connect to it from PHP. We copy this line of code and we're going to go to the terminal and we're going to run it. You can see I already did that as a test. And once you copy the line, you're going to see that this Arango random root password is not needed because I don't want a random password to be generated. I just delete it, go to the page, and now just put this flag instead. Copy Arango no out, copy it, and paste it there. So now we say that we are going to connect to the database without a password. This tutorial is not about security, therefore I just go straight to the point. In this case, no password. And I also need a flag, which is the -- name, and we call it ArangoDB. This will download the latest instance or image of ArangoDB. Press enter and let's check Docker. Now we have our database running. Right away, to see if it's fully working, go to localhost or 127.0.0.1 and let's point to port. Let's see the port, 8529. 8520. This is one of the advantages of Arango. You can see that you connect to the database right away, and then you can create collections, documents, graphs, and so on. You can also switch databases here. You can do so many things with it, but I just want to go to the API. If you subscribe, you're going to be updated on how to work with all these in my next video for Arango. So now that we have this done, we need to download obviously the library that allows us to connect from PHP to Arango. So let's go to docs. Let's go to drivers. You can also just Google for it. If you Google Arango drivers, you will get to this page. And let's take the ArangoDB PHP. Now click on getting started. There are many things that you can use. One of them is via Composer. I do not like to use Composer. I don't like magic happening behind the scenes. I prefer to have full control of the code. So I'm going to download the libraries from Git. I'm not going to connect to Git. I'm just going to open a new tab, going to the Git repository, and I'm just going to download it as a zip file. I have already done this. Let me see if it's there or not. but it will take a few seconds to download. Let me see if it's there. Okay, as you can see, I have downloaded it before, so you will end up with zip file, decompress, extract what you have in the file, and you will end up with something like this, ArangoDB PHP Devil. This is the folder that we're going to copy now. Copy or cut it, up to you. Let's cut it, why not? And now we're going to put this inside our htdocs folder. So we go to our folder, htdocs, and you paste it right there. Let me just delete these two, they were test. And you will end up with your htdocs folder containing ArangoDB PHP Devil. Rename it. Just call it Arango PHP. I don't like the -devil part of it. Once you have done that, we can close this. We can go to VS Code, and in VS Code, we are going to have the folder that we just created. Inside here, you have a lot of files. You should have a lot of files. They are not there. Let me just delete it, and I will do it again. For some reason, they were not there. So I will pause the video and redo it. So the Arango PHP Devil contains all these files and folders. I rename it as I did before, so you should end up with this folder. Once you have that, let's go back to the website of Arango and let's check the documentation for it. If we download it directly, like we did, it says that we need these lines of code, so we will start loading the libraries correctly. Let's copy this, but let me just zoom in a little bit so you can see it. You can see that it is invoking the ArangoDB-PHP. That's why I renamed the file that we just, the folder that we just downloaded. So these lines we're going to need, copy this, let's copy it. Go to VS Code and let's create now a new file. Let's call it ArangoDB.php. This file will be in charge of connecting to the database. So let's set up the PHP tags, a little bit there. And we're going to paste the lines of code that we just copied. Now we continue to the documentation, and we have the tutorial here. And you can read all this if you want it, but basically you need to copy all these lines of code. You will see the code in a second when I paste it in VS Code right there. So this does the connection to the database. You can read everything you want about it. We're going to connect to the directory. We are going to go to the ArangoDB PHP, and then we're going to go to autoload, which is what we already have in this folder here. What's important for us to know is that here we have a lot of things for the API, so we can use this connection with PHP. We will be connecting to the system database, which is, let me show you what that is here. That's the system database. That's the one we're going to connect to. We are going to connect to the exact same port as before, 8529 localhost. We are going to be using the user root. We are not going to have a password, and the rest is the default settings for the connection. The only thing I don't like about this file, that these lines of code that we copy and pasted, is that I don't like to call this connection. I would rather call it ArangoDB, because this is the database I'm connecting to. So save it. Now we're going to go to Postman, and don't mind this message here, that was just a test. We're going to create a new connection to localhost / and the file ArangoDB.php. So this is the file that we just created, and we're going to send, and here we have a mistake. That's good to know, so we can test the file that connects to the database. It says that we cannot have this ArangoDB client autoloader because the name is already in use. I think it was very good that we see this error message. We can go and fix it. If we see that, we're going to see that we are going to require the autoloader. That's necessary. We need to initiate the autoloader, and here we don't need to call the autoload again. I think that's the error. Let me just comment this line out, save it. Let's test it again. Perfect. We are connected to the database. So now we know that this file is the connection to the DB. Since we have done this, we can go to the next video, which is the creation of a document inside ArangoDB.